Okay, so here we are on a winter day. It's Monday, snow day from school. And I just want you to look at the snowflakes wisping around in the air. Now, this is really, they're much faster than what I'm videotaping them as. So I put it in slow motion. Hopefully you can see them drifting a little bit slowly to the ground or around in the air. But I also want you to notice the background. The background is farmland, and there's little tiny trees in the background, and there are buildings in the foreground. And I just want you to watch the snow. And as you're watching the snow, we're going to take a deep breath and breathe in. Feel your chest rise and breathe out. And let your chest collapse. And breathe in and breathe out. And just notice the wind, the snow, the black and white images. And breathe in and breathe out. Just feel calm. One more time. Breathe in and breathe out. And then just notice again the snow, the trees, the fences if you can see them, the buildings in the distance. Imagine that there's people sliding down the hill or walking with the horses, because it's a horse farm, sorry. There's other animals out there like deer, fox, children ice skating on a pond, making snowmen. Okay, thanks. Hello to Meriden Our House students, or Our House Meriden students. This is Miss Gina. And first of all, I want to thank Alana, Vanessa, and Andy for participating in the last paint lesson, which was with the rocks at the beach and then painting messages on them or pictures on the beach rocks. Those were simply wonderful. Thank you for sharing them. So today we're going to do a lesson by an American painter who is no longer living. Her name was Anna Mary Robertson, and she is known as Grandma Moses. And the reason why is because she started painting at such a late age, older than me, 78 years old, and she was very well known in New York, upper state New York, not New York City, but upper state New York, where there's a lot of hills and trees and people doing everyday things. So this is one of her paintings, and you can see that there's people doing things outside in the winter time, and there's smoke coming from the chimney. People are outside building a fire, just talking to each other. There's also a kid over here, if you can see, he's chasing a turkey. Another picture that she did looks like this in the snow time. And I'm showing you these snow pictures because we're going to do one after this. So there's horses, there's people that are sliding with their sleds, there's little houses in the background. Some of the trees are green, like the evergreen trees, and some of the trees don't have any leaves on them at all. So we're going to do some of those. And one more picture I have to show you for inspiration. So here I have a scene. Now this one looks like a very cloudy sky, like the snow is about to it's about to have a snowstorm, but there's no snow falling in this picture like the other ones. So you can see this little person has a stick in their hand. This one is with a dog. This one's on a horse. These people are walking, but there's a couple of buildings and a church. And so we're going to work on, this one's dragging a tree behind the horse. So maybe that's Christmas time or getting ready for Christmas. So we're going to work with a landscape. And we're going to start off with a pencil. And then we're going to use, you can use colored pencil, and you can also use your watercolors for this. So let's begin. All right. So we're going to start with a pencil. We're going to make a hill in the front. So at the bottom of your paper, make a hill. And then I want you to start in the middle, make another hill. And over here on this side of the line, make another hill. And then this will be the sky. All right. So now we have to draw our houses. So I'm going to have a house over here. Could just be a square or rectangle. The roof. Maybe there's another little house next to it, like a shed or a garage. You can have a door, windows, chimney, and then we'll make the smoke with the paint. Okay, we could have a path coming down. Okay, we're not going to draw the trees in, we're going to paint them in. So over here, maybe we'll have a barn. So I'm going to draw a long building. And those tall things that you don't see too many of anymore, especially in Meriden. Not sure where you live, but these are called silos. This is where all the grain was kept for the cows or the horses. Here's a barn. We could have windows on the barn. You don't have windows on the silo, though. All right, let's draw, we'll draw another building over here. So now these are little because they're further back. This one's going to be a little bit bigger of a building. So a bigger square or rectangle, a bigger roof, and I'm going to change the roof so you can see this one's flat at the top. This one's long and flat. This one's pointy. You can do yours however you want. You can have a chimney on this one. And this one has 2 stories, so it has an upstairs and a downstairs and a door. Okay? Now we have plenty of room for animals and people. In fact, I'm going to make a pond right here. And this is going to be good for ice skating. And we're going to have a hill with animals and a hill for sliding. So now, if you want to make like people sliding, you could have like a toboggan, like a sled. Those are those long sleds that people sit in. So here I'm making a hat, the face, the body, and the legs. You could have arms like they're so excited to be on the sled. All right. And then we have another person, another hat. Maybe they're holding on. They're also wee down the hill. And then we have, so let's see if you can see that. Okay. Let's see, we'll have another person on a sled over here. Or you could have like those saucers. This could be a long one. So they're like racing each other. And you sit on these, you don't stand on them. Usually you hold on to a string. Make one of those crazy hats. Have another person over here, a little person. They're gonna fall off because they're not holding on. All right, let's see. And then we could have cows over here. This is a big cow. And you can make 4 legs, you can make 2 legs. We'll have another cow, lots of cows. Oh, it needs a tail. Can't have just one cow. All right, and then maybe another cow. These are their ears, I know. You can make your cows however you want. And I'm just doing stick legs because Grandma Moses was a primitive painter, it's called, where she's not really a trained artist. Like, she didn't go to art school. She just painted what she saw around her. She painted how she thought they should look. Things are not in the right perspective, meaning that these people are so big compared to, you know, the horse, if you look at it, because the horse should be even bigger than the people. But she just painted for enjoyment. She wasn't trying to make a living off of painting. She ended up selling quite many of her paintings. She couldn't understand why people would want to buy them, but they're endearing. Okay, so now I'm going to do a horse. So we have the mane, a tail, the body and the neck, and we'll make him have 4 legs, and that's a pretty fat horse. We could have somebody riding him. And it's winter time, so I'm going to give everybody a hat and a little hand. Okay. We could have pigs. Nose. Short little legs. Curly tail. We could have sheep. Ears. Face. Legs. What else could we have? We could have a dog. All my animals seem to look the same. So here's my dog. Let's see if I can do this. I will do like a tail to make him look like a dog. And he's running. You could have cats. You could have foxes. You could have, let's see, more people. Will have this person. Now this person's going to be bigger because he's up close. So we are going to try and do a little bit of perspective here. There's his body. And let's see, maybe he'll be throwing a stick. And he has boots on because it's winter time. And we could have people skating. So the skates would look something like this. I'm starting from the bottom up. It's a silly way to start, but all right. And then we have their body, their mittens. Skating, if you haven't ever gone skating, skating is like, it's like roller skating or rollerblading. So somebody's on the pond. Let's see, we can have somebody making a snowman. Stick arms. and a hat. And we'll have somebody, let's see, maybe this person will be wearing that kind of hat. So I want you to draw a lot of interests because she has a lot going on, a lot of interest, a lot of interesting things to look at in her picture. Not just like one horse or one person. Here's another one. I love this one with the child is like running after the turkey trying to catch him. So maybe you could have something funny in your picture that's going on. All right. So once you get everybody all drawn in, then I would take your colored pencils, excuse my arm, and I would start coloring in their bodies, their hats. Make it colorful. Use lots of colors, whatever you have. So a blue hat, make a purple sweater or jacket. Make sure you draw dark enough, just like we did last time with the whatchamacallits, the rocks, because you want to make sure that when you paint, you don't cover it up, your colored pencil. So if you press a little bit hard, you'll be able to, maybe if you have to go over it near the paint, you'll be able to not cover it up. Okay. And I could give them black boots. And you know that I go fast because I don't want to make this video too long, but take your time when you're doing all this. Really pay attention to details. So if you have like a dog, I didn't add any faces. You could add faces to these people. To make a collar on the dog. Here's the stick that he's about to throw, and the dog is so happy. All right, and then we have the snowman. I hope this is in the picture, yeah. Let's see, we'll use another green for his jacket. And maybe blue for his pants. And blue for his hat. All right, so you're gonna color in the whole thing, all the animals. We could have the cows. Cows could have like the spots on them. And let's see. All right, so I need to do a little bit of erasing where, let's see, I'll use a pencil eraser. Here's another one. My eraser's not doing too well here. Let's see. All right. Okay, so to do the painting, I just want to start with the trees. I know I didn't finish a lot of the coloring, but I can always go back to it. So you're going to have a small paintbrush and a big paintbrush. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to make trees. But you know what? I think before we do that, we're going to paint the sky first. We're going to do a blue sky. There's another one of her skies. So let's do that. Sorry, we're going to switch over to the big brush. Take some water. Wet your blue watercolor paint. And we're going to do the, it's called a graded wash, meaning it gets dark at the top down to lighter at the bottom. So I'm going to take my blue paint and I'm going to put a line of paint at the top like this from one side to the other side. I'm going to pick up some more paint. I'm going to go over it again. And as I'm coming down, now watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to dip it in water, and I'm just going to use water to paint down to the buildings. So I'm going to be careful to go a little bit around my buildings. So you can color your buildings in first. You could color your buildings in later on, like I'm going to do. Add more water. Just dip your paintbrush in water, and look, I'm still painting with some paint that's very, very light. I'm trying to work a little fast to drag some of this down to the first hill, way back in the background. And that is called, whoops, I have some brown in here from where? Probably my table. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Okay. I'll fix that with some more blue paint there. All right, so we're gonna let that dry. And then I wanna show you something. We're gonna leave a lot of this white, but we're gonna do the pond next. So you're gonna take some more of that same color blue, and I'm gonna very lightly paint in my pond. And do you see what shape my pond is? It's not a circle, it's a circle turned on its side. It's now become like an ellipse, which is called an oval in this case. I'm gonna paint here, and then I could just take my colored pencil and go over, go over all my other things that I need to color in there. Now, because this is going to be a mostly white picture, we're going to make some shadows in the snow. So I don't know if you can see some of this lighter area. This is a river. You could have a river through your woods. But we're going to do some shadows, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So you're going to take your water and your blue paint, and you really want to make sure that it's very light. So under your buildings, you could make a little shadow. And under this building, make a shadow with the light blue. And under this building, we'll do another shadow. And then maybe even in the pathway here, because it's all snow, we'll do like a little bit of a shadow here. We're going to do a shadow under our snowman. I tried to do this where the silo is and where the barn is. And then we could put more shadows in once we do our trees. So that's the next thing we're going to do. So I'm going to switch over to my little brush. Oh, see, I have something in this brush that I keep getting on my paper here. Let's see. We'll put a tree there. All right. So to do trees, there's two kinds of trees I'm going to show you how to do. So I'm going to take the brown paint and I'm going to make a tree over here. So I'm going to draw a straight line with my paintbrush. When I get to the top, I make 2 more lines. So I put my paintbrush down and make the letter Y. Now I'm going to go over this again and make it a little bit thicker for a tree. This is the tree trunk. All right, pick up a little bit more paint. Put your paintbrush on the letter Y, and you try and make as skinny as a line as you can. Now, you can do this with your colored pencils the same way, where you make the letter Y, and then from there, you keep making like the letter V or the letter Y. Put your paintbrush here on a branch, make the letter Y. Here, make the letter Y. And you just keep doing that, and you keep filling in as many branches as you can. I'll have a lower branch, and then I break it off with the letter Y. I need another branch here. So see how I'm holding my paintbrush? I'm holding my hand, like resting it on the table, and I'm trying to just barely graze the paper. Like I'm barely like brushing it, touching it. Like I'm tickling my hand, my finger when I paint. So you could practice really on your hand to see how tickly you can get. And that's how you're gonna like tickling the paper with your paintbrush. You're trying not to press too hard, because then you'll get really big, thick lines, which is fine. You can have a tree with really big, thick lines. And I like how these trees have like darker branches and lighter branches. Okay, now I'm gonna show you how to do the pine tree. Make sure this is dry. We'll do a pine tree over here. So I'm gonna start with my trunk of my pine tree. It's a little trunk. Okay. And then I'm going to pick up some green paint. Now, the green paint sometimes doesn't get too dark. So I know last week I showed you how to do combination of colors. So I'm going to take some green. I'm hoping this is in the camera. And I'm going to take some of my blue. And more green, so it looks more green. So see how dark that got just by adding blue and green together? So to make a pine tree, we're gonna make like an arrow, like an upside down V at the top. And then I'm just going to make another V, start in the middle, make another V, start in the middle of your trunk, and another V, upside down V, I should say, and another upside down V. And I need more paint. And that's one way of doing a tree. You can have another tree over here. Let's see, I'm going to wash off my brush, pick up a little more brown. And these trees, because they're in the distance, they're going to be smaller than these trees down here. I'm going to pick up some more paint. Now this is still wet, so it's going to blend in with my green, which is fine. So you can see I'm just doing the upside down V's. Now I'm getting like really wiggly with my branches. They're sort of doing their own thing. There are some evergreen trees that have these branches that sway out. Okay, let's do one more of those over here so you can see. Do a big one over here because this one's closer to the picture. So I always like to start with the trunk first. I'm going to mix up a little more paint because I'm going to need it for this big tree. So the arrow at the top like that. And then I'm going to start here in the middle and out. Upside down arrow, upside down V, however you want to And just keep working your way. And it's fine if some of the brown mixes in with the green, because that's even better. It will look more real. Okay. All right. So at this point, because you have big barns and big houses, you could paint. You could definitely paint your characters in too. You know, you don't have to just do everything with the colored pencils. So I'm going to have a red barn. I don't know why barns are usually red. There must be a reason why. Have to look that up. Okay, more red for this. Now, if I paint over my windows, you actually could do that and wait till the paint dries, and then you could go back in with some black. I'm going to paint over my door, and hopefully by the end I can go over it and show you what I mean, so that you can see the lines in that door that I drew. So now I have my roof, and I'm taking black paint. And I really, really should have waited till probably this paint dries. The red. Yep, because see what's happening? It's bleeding into my roof. I'm glad it's doing that instead of bleeding into my barn. That's okay, I'll have a pinky gray roof. Okay. So here is my picture. I'm gonna keep working on it. And I'm going to keep either coloring in my people with paint or colored pencil. But I'm going to add in some shadows. So I'm going to take a little bit of that blue. I'm going to add but a lot of water, because you don't want your shadows to be too dark. You can have a shadow under here. So it's like the shadows in the snow. If you ever looked out, they just appear blue, probably because of the sky reflecting on the snow. I have a shadow under this person, and a shadow under this tree, and a shadow under this tree. I could even have them under the cows. So I'm looking forward to seeing all your trees. Add a lot of trees. Just don't add what I did, 1, 2, 3. Add like 10 trees, all different kinds. And add a lot of animals, lots of animals, like squirrels and foxes, and maybe you could do like a cat. So here I'm using the colored pencil. And see how I'm making the V and then the letter Y. This tree's off in the distance. So I'm just going to have little branches because it's winter time. Maybe another tree next to it, because trees sometimes grow in groups. You have to wait till your sky dries, so make sure you do that. Now, if you have white paint in your watercolors, or if you have a little bit of white tempera paint or acrylic paint, you can add snow. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So you take a paintbrush. We're just going to take the tip of the paintbrush. You dip it in the paint. And you can just make your dots. Just a little bit of paint. You just dab them in. all over the place. Because that video that I showed you in the beginning, it was snowing. Oh, I have to do a tree over there. All right. So have fun. I can't wait to see all the animals that you add in your picture. And see you next time. Bye-bye.
Once again, I find myself with my friends, dancing the night away. It's like the party never ends.